Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we really get into it, pull apart those texts and ideas to, well, see what makes them tick.
And maybe learn a thing or two ourselves along the way.
Exactly. And today,
Okay.
wow, today we are tackling something truly monumental. Words that, more than 60 years on, still give you chills sometimes.
They really do, that opening.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
sets such a powerful tone.
Right. You know the ones I mean. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe.
To assure the survival and the success of liberty. Yeah, delivered by John F. Kennedy, so young, so full of energy. It was this immediate declaration of resolve.
Unwavering.
Yeah.
Aimed at the whole world, but also, you feel, at the American people themselves,
Yeah.
sort of bracing for impact.
Definitely. And then almost right after that powerful opening, he hits us with perhaps the most quoted line from any presidential speech ever.
It has to be. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Just bam. Changes everything.
It really does. It's like a switch flips. Suddenly, citizenship isn't passive anymore. It's active. It's demanding.
It's a challenge, and that challenge, that call to action, is exactly what we're diving into today. JFK's inaugural address.
A speech that really defined a moment, but somehow feels, well, it still feels relevant, doesn't it?
That's the core of it. Our mission here is to unpack why. Why is this call for service, for sacrifice, for looking beyond ourselves, both nationally and globally, still resonate?
We want to understand its timelessness, how it pushes you, listening right now, to think about your own role, not just as someone living in a country, but someone building it, an active citizen.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll look at the rhetorical genius behind it, sure, but also the historical pressures, the world it was born into.
And those deeper messages,
Yeah.
about what gives life purpose, about working together, things that maybe feel even more urgent today.
Right. We're looking for those insights that stick with you, that
Yeah.
make this speech more than just a historical artifact.
It's about how language can genuinely shape belief and action, a real benchmark.
Okay, let's get into the historical context first. Because you really can't understand the speech without picturing the world in, early 1961.
Exactly. It's easy to forget just how tense things were. The Cold War wasn't some abstract threat. It was. It was daily life. The shadow of nuclear war was very, very real.
You had this stark division, East versus West, Berlin, Cuba looming, proxy wars starting up, a genuine sense of peril.
And into the steps Kennedy. Young, Catholic, which was still a hurdle for some voters, representing a kind of generational shift.
And he didn't downplay the danger, did he? I remember reading he actually embraced the difficulty of the moment. He said something like,
Yeah, I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. He called it the hour of maximum danger.
wow. So he's not saying don't worry. He's saying this is our challenge. This is our time to face it. It's a call to shared responsibility right from the get-go.
Precisely. It wasn't just his problem as president. It was the nation's burden, but also its unique opportunity. And in that kind of atmosphere, words matter hugely.
The power of oration. You think back to the ancient Greeks.
Right. Plato, in Phaedrus, talked about speech having the power to lead the soul, not just convince the mind, but actually shape character, guide belief.
So it's way beyond just like winning an argument. It's deeper.
Much deeper. And then Aristotle, he got more specific. He said rhetoric, the art of speaking well, is for the sake of a judgment. Its job is essentially threefold: instructing, moving, and delighting his hearers.
Instructing, moving, delighting. Okay, how does Kennedy's speech do that?
Well, think about it. He instructed the nation and the world about the dangers, yes, but also the possibilities: peace, cooperation, fighting common enemies like poverty and disease.
Okay, it makes sense.
He absolutely moved people. That call to service, the sense of shared purpose, the patriotic feeling, it's incredibly moving, even now.
Yeah, definitely. And delighting. So that seems maybe less obvious for such a serious speech.
Well, it's not delighting in a, lighthearted way. It's the delight that comes from being offered a compelling vision, a sense of hope, of purpose, of being part of something grand and meaningful, even in dangerous times. That's uplifting. That's a kind of delight.
Okay, I see that. It's the pleasure of clarity and purpose.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just laying out policy points. It was a whole psychological package.
Absolutely. And the craft behind it, it's meticulous. You can almost see the fingerprints of those classical ideas about persuasion.
Like Cicero. What would he have thought?
Cicero stressed winning the goodwill of the listener immediately, establishing common ground. Kennedy needed that, right? Young president, slim victory margin, facing huge global issues.
So how did he do it? How did he win that goodwill right away?
Look at the very start. We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom. He lifts it above politics immediately, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change. It's about unity, shared values, a common journey.
Ah, okay. So he's saying this isn't about me or my party, this is about us.
Exactly. Pure Cicero. Build that bridge first. Then you have Quintilian, another Roman master rhetorician. He believed the best words are essentially suggested by the subject matter.
Meaning the topic itself demands a certain kind of language.
Pretty much. If you're talking about civic duty, sacrifice, global challenges, you need language that carries weight, that feels significant. Kennedy delivered. Think about those phrases. Bear any burden, forge against these enemies, light our country. They have a kind of gravity to them.
They feel almost biblical sometimes, like pronouncements.
They do. They're carefully chosen to resonate deeply, to paint pictures, to evoke struggle, but also hope.
But it wasn't just the words, right? I mean, everyone remembers how he sounded, how he looked.
Oh, absolutely critical. Cicero knew this too. He said an orator has to feel the emotions to convey them. And maybe even more importantly, he said the performance, the delivery, holds the greatest power.
And Kennedy's performance was legendary. That Boston accent, the crispness, the sort of youthful vigor, but also the seriousness.
The unwavering gaze, the conviction in his voice, it wasn't just reading a script, it was embodying the message. It made the abstract feel urgent and personal. You believed him.
Yeah, you really did. That cold January day, the visuals, it all amplified the words. It was a complete package.
A fusion of intellect, emotion, and, frankly, charisma, delivered with this powerful sense of historical moment.
Now, this whole idea of strenuous effort, of service,
Yeah.
it feels very Kennedy. But as I was prepping for this, I kept thinking, this isn't entirely out of the blue in American history, is it?
Not at all. There are definite echoes. Who are you thinking of?
Theodore Roosevelt.
Hmm.
TR. His whole strenuous life philosophy, he was always railing against swollen, slothful ease and ignoble peace.
Yes, a perfect comparison. Roosevelt absolutely believed that national greatness wasn't found in comfort, but through strife, through hard and dangerous endeavor. It's that same rejection of complacency, that embrace of challenge.
You can practically hear TR nodding along to Kennedy's speech.
You really can. And Roosevelt's most famous articulation of this is probably the man in the arena passage, right?
Oh, yeah, classic.
Where he praises the person who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again.
But who does actually strive to do the deeds.
Yeah.
It's not about guaranteed success. It's about having the guts to try.
Exactly. It's about spending yourself in a worthy cause. That's the core of it. And that idea directly underpins the kind of courageous public service Kennedy was calling for. It acknowledges, look, this will be hard, you might fail, but the effort in a good cause is what matters.
Roosevelt himself lived that, didn't he? Like intervening in that big coal strike in 1902. People criticized him for overstepping, but he felt he had to act for the national good.
Right. He saw potential public calamity and stepped in, using his office forcefully for what he believed was a higher purpose. It combined power with that sense of national mission.
And that phrase Roosevelt used, daring greatly, it's had a resurgence lately, hasn't it? Brene Brown talks about it a lot.
Yeah. She does. She connects it powerfully to vulnerability. To dare greatly, to step into that arena means accepting you might fail, you might be criticized. It takes courage because it involves vulnerability.
So avoiding the arena because you're scared of messing up or what people will say, that's the opposite of what both Roosevelt and Kennedy were asking for.
Precisely. Brown points out that shame keeps us small, keeps us silent. Daring greatly, whether it's in public service or just speaking your truth, means pushing past that fear. It means showing up even when you can't control the outcome.
And in that resilience, that willingness to be vulnerable in pursuit of something important seems absolutely essential for the kind of active citizenship Kennedy envisioned. You have to be willing to risk something.
Absolutely. It's about building a culture, really, where effort in a worthy cause is celebrated, even if it doesn't lead to immediate perfect success, where failure isn't disqualifying, but part of the process of contributing.
Okay, so that brings us squarely back to the absolute linchpin of the speech. Let's unpack it. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
It's just so direct. So challenging. It fundamentally reframes the citizen's relationship with the state.
How so? What's the core shift there?
It moves the focus from expectation to contribution, from what am I getting to what am I giving. It challenges that passive consumer model of citizenship.
Where you just wait for the government or the country to provide things.
Right. Instead, it says, you are the agent, you have a responsibility. The country's success depends on your actions.
It's a profound shift in perspective.
Yeah.
And it gave people a very clear why, didn't it?
Exactly. Simon Sinek talks about this, how great leaders and movements articulate a clear why. Not just what they do or how they do it, but why it matters. Apple's Think Different is his classic example.
So Kennedy provided the WHY for national service.
He did. The why was the survival and success of liberty, tackling global challenges, building a better future. Ask what you can do, provided the what action, service, contribution, but it was fueled by that powerful why.
It elevates citizenship beyond just rights and benefits to purpose and meaning.
Precisely. It counters that transactional view. And without that why, Sinek argues, organizations and maybe nations too lose their way. They just become about the transaction, not the purpose.
And that connects to another idea, finding purpose beyond just personal success. I read this line from The World is Waiting for You that really struck me.
What was that?
It said, personal success devoid of meaningfulness, free of a steady commitment to social justice, that's more than a barren life. It is a trivial one. It's looking good instead of doing good.
Wow, that cuts deep. And it absolutely resonates with Kennedy's call. He wasn't just asking for busy work. He was asking for meaningful contribution, for dedicating oneself to something larger.
Looking good versus doing good, that's a powerful distinction. It suggests that real fulfillment comes from impact, not just appearance or personal gain.
It really does. And this idea of finding opportunities to contribute, often close to home, has a long history too. Remember Russell Conwell?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
The Acres of Diamonds guy.
That's the one. He gave that lecture thousands of times. His core message was, stop looking far away for opportunities. The real diamonds, the real chances to make a difference, and yes, achieve success are right in your own backyard, in your community.
It's kind of the opposite of a gold rush mentality.
Yeah.
Don't chase distant dreams. Build where you are.
Exactly. He had these amazing stories, like how Temple University got started. He wanted to found a college for working men in Philadelphia. The very first donation, 57 cents from a little girl.
57 cents.
Then factory workers chipped in 50 cents each, adding up to maybe $400. Policemen gave $1 each, raising $2,000. It was built from the ground up by ordinary people finding their acres of diamonds their way to contribute locally.
That's incredible. It shows how small, individual acts of service, guided by a purpose, can build something huge.
Right. Conwell believed that by honestly serving the needs you see around you, guided by a godly plan, as he put it, you could achieve both personal fulfillment and create immense collective good. It's a perfect illustration of ask what you can do, but on a very local, tangible level.
It brings Kennedy's grand vision down to earth, makes it actionable for anyone, anywhere.
And that ties into another powerful idea about individual agency, Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret.
Oh yeah, the power of thought and goals. That was huge in its day.
Still influential. Nightingale hammered home the idea that we become what we think about. But crucially, it wasn't just passive thinking. It was about setting a clear goal, focusing your thoughts positively. He talked about a cheerful, relaxed, positive way, and then taking action.
That action piece is key.
Absolutely. He even quoted the Sermon on the Mount. Ask and it shall be given you, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. He interpreted that as a call to active seeking, not passive waiting.
So if your goal is to contribute, to answer Kennedy's call, you need to actively look for ways, knock on doors, seek out opportunities. They won't just fall in your lap.
That's the essence of it. Nightingale believed your rewards in life are directly proportional to your service, to what you give. The moment you commit to a goal, a way to contribute, you've already achieved a kind of success because you have direction.
But okay, let's be real. Setting a goal is one thing. Sticking to it, especially when it involves service or facing challenges, that's another. There's fear, negativity, self-doubt.
Huge obstacles, internal ones often the toughest. And that's where people like Les Brown or Tony Robbins come in, focusing on mastering that inner game.
How do their ideas connect to sustaining the kind of commitment Kennedy asked for?
Well, they both stress taking control of your mental focus. Les Brown talks about being hungry for your dream, or in this context, hungry to make a difference. You have to actively feed that hunger. Focus on your desired outcome, not on the fear or the what-ifs.
Don't let the negative self-talk win.
Right. Brown says you have to consciously decide, this is my dream, and I'm willing to, go through the challenges to get there. You have to keep stoking that internal fire. Motivation isn't automatic, it's cultivated.
And Tony Robbins, he has that formula, right?
The ultimate success formula. Yeah, it's very practical, very action-oriented. 4 steps. 1, know your outcome. Be crystal clear on what you want to achieve, what contribution you want to make.
Okay, clarity first. Like Nightingale's goal.
Exactly. 2, take action. Don't just think about it. Do something consistently. 3, sensory acuity. Pay attention. Notice what results you're getting. Is it working? What's the feedback?
Be observant. Learn from what happens.
Right. And 4, flexibility. If what you're doing isn't working, change your approach. Keep adjusting until you achieve your outcome. Don't just bang your head against the same wall.
That seems like a really solid framework for actually doing what Kennedy asked. Know what you can offer, act on it, see if it's helping, and adapt if it's not.
Precisely. It takes the grand call and makes it operational. And it acknowledges that setbacks will happen, but they're feedback, not stop signs. You adjust and keep going. As Liz Brown says, often when you face your fear, you find it wasn't as big as you thought.
And underlying all this, maybe, is self-worth. Believing you can contribute. Ziglar talked a lot about that, didn't he?
Oh, massively. Ziglar emphasized developing a healthy self-image. Believing in your own worth and capabilities is fundamental. If you don't think you have anything to offer, why would you step up?
Makes sense. But he also stressed recognizing the worth in others, right?
Crucial point. Because contribution, especially on the scale Kennedy envisioned, is rarely a solo act. Recognizing the worth and ability of other people is essential for collaboration, for building teams, for achieving collective goals. You need that mutual respect.
So self-belief plus belief in others combined with that strong goal orientation you mentioned earlier.
Yes, and Ziglar had this interesting take. The price of success is much lower than the price of failure.
Unpack that. What does that mean in this context?
I think it means the effort, the discipline, the potential setbacks involved in striving, in serving, and trying to succeed. That price is actually less costly in the long run than the consequences of apathy, inaction, or just passively failing. The regret, the missed opportunities, the problems that fester because no one acted, that's the higher price.
So the effort Kennedy asked for, while significant, is ultimately less burdensome than the cost of not making that effort.
That's how I read Ziglar's point, yeah. It reframes the sacrifice not as a burden, but as a wise investment compared to the alternative. And this ability to see value in yourself and others and to work towards goals is the bedrock for any kind of effective alliance.
Which brings us neatly to the next big dimension of the speech, the global vision. Kennedy didn't just stop at national borders.
Not at all. He explicitly called for a grand and global alliance. He asked the world, can we forge against these enemies? And he named tyranny, poverty, disease, war itself, a grand and global alliance, north and south, east and west, that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind.
Will you join in that historic effort? It's an incredibly ambitious expansion of the call to service, from what you can do for your country to what we can do for humanity.
And again, think of the context. The Cold War threatened everyone. But beyond that, the legacy of colonialism, the rise of newly independent nations, the world was in flux. This call for global cooperation against shared threats was both idealistic and deeply pragmatic.
It reminds me of Elie Wiesel's reflections on history, especially the dangers of certain words.
How so?
Wiesel warned about words like conquest, how they shaped the destructive paths of Napoleon, Stalin, Hitler. He stressed that we need memory, we need to understand history, to avoid repeating those horrors, to avoid the abyss of ignorance.
I see the connection. Kennedy's enemies, tyranny, poverty, disease, war, are precisely the outcomes of that destructive mindset Wiesel warned about. So the Global Alliance isn't just about shared projects. It's about actively resisting those forces of division and destruction.
It's about choosing cooperation over conquest, shared well-being over narrow self-interest. It's a fundamentally different vocabulary for international relations.
Absolutely. It's a call for collective security and collective prosperity based on shared human values, not just power politics. And that vision of a more fruitful life for all mankind, free from domination, it echoes other great struggles for human dignity.
Like Nelson Mandela's fight against apartheid. His ideal.
A democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It's almost a perfect articulation of the goal of Kennedy's Global Alliance.
And Mandela's willingness to die for that ideal, it shows the depth of commitment that such a vision can inspire. It's the ultimate example of sacrifice for a principle larger than oneself, a principle of universal human rights.
His fight wasn't just about South Africa, it was about challenging racial domination anywhere, everywhere. He explicitly fought against both white and black domination, seeking true equality. That resonates powerfully with Kennedy's call for an alliance that bridges North, South, East, and West.
And these fights for rights, for inclusion in that grand alliance, often start with individuals demanding their voice be heard, right? Like Sojourner Truth.
An incredible figure, born into slavery, she became a powerful voice for abolition and women's rights. Her famous "Ain't I a Woman" speech, probably delivered around 1851, it's just raw, compelling truth.
And she directly urged people, didn't she, to make yourselves useful and active members in society. It's that same call to active citizenship, demanding a place at the table.
Exactly. Her very presence and her powerful, plain-spoken arguments challenged the exclusions of her time. She demonstrated that individual courage and voice are fundamental to achieving collective progress and expanding the definition of who belongs, who gets to contribute.
And that thread continues through figures like Elizabeth Cady Stanton.
At Seneca Falls in 1848, with the Declaration of Sentiments, boldly demanding women's immediate admission to all the rights and privileges of citizenship, it was a foundational moment.
And right up to someone like Ruth Bader Ginsburg in more recent times.
Absolutely. RBG's entire career was about dismantling barriers, often facing immense resistance, misconception, misrepresentation, and ridicule, as she noted. Her work, like the Supreme Court decision in United States v. Virginia, which struck down the male-only admission policy at VMI, was about ensuring equal and full justice in all things.
So these individual struggles, often fought within a nation, are actually building blocks for that larger global vision of harmony and equality Kennedy spoke of. They are expanding the circle of participation.
Precisely. The global alliance has to be built on justice and equality within nations as well. You can't have a truly fruitful life for all mankind if huge segments of the population are denied their rights and opportunities. These figures show the relentless, often difficult work required to make that ideal a reality.
It suggests the Grand Alliance is as much about internal transformation within societies as it is about cooperation between them.
I think that's right. It's about creating societies where everyone is empowered to answer that call, to contribute, to be an active citizen free from artificial barriers.
So, wrapping this all together, we've seen the history, the rhetoric, the call to individual action, the global vision. What's the takeaway for us now? What's the enduring challenge?
It's a big question. Where does it land for you?
You know, I keep circling back to something really simple, almost profound in its simplicity. That Kurt Vonnegut, quote, relaying what his son told him. Father, we are here to help each other get through this thing, whatever it is.
Yeah, that cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? Beyond all the politics and grand strategy, it's about basic human connection and mutual support.
It feels like the bedrock.
Yeah.
Kennedy's call ultimately is a political and societal framework built on that fundamental human truth. We need each other. Active citizenship starts there, maybe. Just helping each other get through.
It grounds the whole thing in empathy. It suggests that service isn't just about big programs or policies. It's also about how we treat each other daily, how we support our communities, how we recognize our shared vulnerability and interdependence.
And then there's that other, more modern take from "the world is waiting for you." The idea that civilization needs a new operating system. You are the programmers, and we need it within a few decades.
That's a powerful metaphor for today. It takes Kennedy's call for energy, faith, and devotion and applies it to systemic change. It's not just about participating in the current system, but actively redesigning it.
It feels like a massive escalation of the challenge. Not just do your part, but rewrite the code.
It does. It speaks to the scale of challenges we face now: climate change, inequality, technological disruption that seem to require more than just incremental adjustments. It demands innovation, creativity, a fundamental rethinking of how our societies function. It positions every individual with skills and ideas as a potential architect of the future.
Which honestly can feel overwhelming. The sheer size of the problems, the complexity,
Yeah.
it can lead to despair, right? Like, what can I possibly do to reprogram civilization?
Absolutely. That sense of hopelessness is a real barrier. It's easy to feel paralyzed by the scale of it all.
But then you hear that counter argument. Hope isn't a choice, it's a moral obligation. What does that mean to you?
I think it means hope isn't just a passive feeling like optimism. It's an active stance. It's a decision to engage, to act despite the difficulties, despite the uncertainty. It's recognizing that giving in to despair is a kind of moral abdication. We have an obligation to ourselves, to each other, to future generations to keep striving, to keep believing that positive change is possible.
So, hope as the engine for sustained action, even when things look bleak.
Mm.
It's the necessary fuel for daring greatly, for answering Kennedy's call over the long haul.
Exactly. It's not about ignoring the problems, but about facing them with the determination to find solutions. It's the bedrock of resilience, both personal and collective. Without that obligation to hope, service becomes unsustainable.
Okay, so for everyone listening, as you think about all this Kennedy's words, the echoes of Roosevelt, the calls for local action like Conway's, the global vision, the need for hope, what part of this resonates most with you right now?
Is it the personal commitment to contribute something specific? Is it the idea of working collectively to tackle bigger issues in your community or even globally? Is it about fighting for justice and
Where
equality?
does that call to be an active citizen land for you today? Because Kennedy's words weren't meant to just be admired. They were meant to be acted upon.
They remind us we're not just spectators in history, we're participants. Our actions, our energy, our faith, our devotion, they shape the world we live in.
So let's end with this challenge, maybe a final provocation for you to consider. Given everything we face today, if that energy, faith, and devotion Kennedy spoke of truly can light our world, what's the one courageous act of service, big or small, that you are prepared to commit to? Not just for your country, perhaps, but for our shared humanity. What step can you take starting today?